Good afternoon, good morning, good day to you all. Again, my name is Omari Rush, and I have the bittersweet honor of leading this business meeting today, my last, as I just kind of alluded to, as chair of the board. Um, More soon on that, but I will say that I'm officially calling this meeting to order on October 23, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. To get us started and to center us as a group, please join me in a moment of reflection to honor Indigenous peoples and acknowledge the taking of their lands and their lives. Let us commit to responsible stewardship of the land, and let's show our respect for the Native peoples who are a vital part of the past, present, and future of this country. Let us seek meaningful relationships with Native communities, centering their voices to inform actions and partnerships that advance equity. Please also remember all the people in this country who have lost their lives to COVID-19, acts of violence, and systems that perpetuate harm. All those for whom equity has not been an option. Let's commit ourselves to meaningful action that creates a more equitable future where all communities thrive. Now, to just make sure that we have a sense about where everybody's coming from today, would you mind adding your state abbreviation to your Zoom name? Hopefully you all, we've been on Zoom for now 3 years, so you should all know how to do that. But no shame if you don't. So to do that, you can click on the three dots in the upper right corner of your Zoom square, your own Zoom box with your picture in it, and select rename and add your state abbreviation to your name. I see Jean has done that. Donna has done that. Amber has fully spelled out Oklahoma. Oh no, Amber just changed it to OK. Solid, Amber. Well done. So you're doing a good job at that. So that's like step one. And again, it would be really wonderful for you to all use the chat to let us know that your state is present. And this is very important because this is how we're doing roll call and how we're establishing our quorum. So as you say hello, make sure to mention your state and, feel free to add a word or two about how you're doing today, how the weather is impacting you, maybe something that you're looking at while you're on this call that's like got you excited. We're tracking who's here, so that's very important to make sure that your voice is heard. As you're doing that, a couple of procedural things before we begin. Votes today will be voice votes, so please listen for the prompt to unmute your audio and give us a yay or nay. I'll just say I hope to hear lots of yays. When the time comes, just make sure that you kind of speak out loud and clear also. Eric Giles, NASAA's Learning Services Director, is handling the tech for today. He did a good job getting us all prepared. So if you have any issues, please let him know. He will also be posting various links to the business materials throughout the meeting to keep us all on the same page. And you can find his name in the chat. And finally, we're offering closed captioning today. To access the captions, just click on the CC button at the bottom of the window and choose how you want to view the captions, subtitles, or transcript. You may have read the materials that we are committed to, read in the mirrors that we're going to kind of get this thing done as the fastest ever virtual business meeting. We know that you all are super busy. And we very much thank you for the time that you're giving us today and helping us with important business of NASAA. Before we move on, Marisa, who has very much kept me in line for the last 2 some odd years, how are we doing with roll call and quorum? You're probably still counting.
I'm still counting, Omari, but thank you so much. I'm happy to share that we do have a quorum.
Perfect. Yet another milestone. We're doing really great today. Well, since we do have a quorum, then I now have the pleasure of officially calling the meeting to order. So double officially meeting begins. So an agenda was included in the meeting materials that you all received. Approving that is our first order of business. And so hopefully you've had a chance to review that. I will now ask everyone to briefly unmute yourselves. If you're on phone, that's *6, so that we can do voice voting. May I please have a motion to approve the business meeting agenda?
I motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Perfect. And that was Danielle.
Danielle from New Jersey.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Danielle, for being the brave, highly engaged NASAA member. And folks, when you make your motion or second, please do say your name and state. That'd be wonderful. Is there a second?
I second, Carla.
Thank you, Carla.
Really?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Great. Agenda passes. We can move forward. Next, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from our last business meeting, which, if you can remember that far back, was held in Kansas City, Missouri in September 2022. Is there a motion?
Gary from Texas, I so move.
Thank you, former Chair Gary from Texas. Is there a second?
Second, Ruben Alvarez, Arizona.
Thanks, Ruben. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions of the minutes? All right, unmuting time, folks. All in favor for approving the minutes from our last business meeting, say aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? All right, minutes approved. Next, we'll move into a series of reports. I'll now ask Karen Hannon, our NASAA treasurer, to present the Planning and Budget Committee report. Karen, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Amari. Hey, everybody. Coming at you from SeaTac Airport. So it's a bit nuts here, but just a thumbs up. You can hear me okay, Amari? All sound good? Yep. Great. Good. Well, it's been a real pleasure to chair the Planning and Budget Committee this year. The committee is a mix of people from the membership at large, as well as the board. There are staff members, council appointees combined. And together, essentially, we have 3 jobs. Number 1 is to monitor NASAA's performance measures and evaluation practices. Number 2 is to guide NASAA's planning, making sure that NASA services meet the needs of SAAs. And number 3 is to provide oversight of NASAA's operating budget. Well, the committee is a small but smart group of folks, and we get the chance to learn a lot about what's happening with different states across the country. So it's a fun volunteer role as well as one that we hope is really valuable to NASA. So the first thing the committee worked on this summer was NASAA's performance measures. Because we want to always be conscientious stewards of public dollars, NASA does take a robust approach to measurement and to show accountability and to inform continual improvement. So to these ends, the committee did several things. We adopted a new measurement framework. We made some adjustments to our operational performance metrics, and we put some new structures in place to engage more members in feedback so that we can better inform NASAA's planning in the future. I think it was a pretty well-rounded approach, and it included a mix of quantitative data and also opportunities for qualitative learning. And you can, of course, check out the links further in your materials to learn more about this. Then our next book of business was about action planning. NASA combines a long-term strategic plan with shorter-term action plans. The strategic plan lays out a mission, values, and goals. Action plans get more granular and they itemize specific services. And this tandem system makes sure that the daily work ties back to our collective larger purpose. Now, starting in 2024, we're going to try switching to a biennial cycle for action planning. And we think that not only will this be a time saver for staff and the board, but it also makes sense because a lot of NASAA's initiatives span more than one fiscal year at a time. So that's why the action plan before you encompasses both 2024 and 2025. Now, the plan reflects a lot of member input. We looked at things like the interviews conducted by the nominating committee, information requests from the membership, focus groups with agency leaders, and we had a lot of committee discussions to reflect on our own experiences as well. Now, the resulting plan ended up with 3 priority areas that we flagged. They were advocacy, equity, and public service. These 3 themes rose to the top in pretty much everything we heard from members. State arts agencies are operating in a very polarized environment, so they asked for help navigating policy challenges and making a convincing case for resources. SAAs also asked for models of ways to approach equity, especially in situations where that work cannot be explicit. And the workforce challenges that we're all seeing across government are pinching some SAAs as well. We heard a lot about job stress and burnout, and many states and jurisdictions, as we all know only too well, have gone through executive transitions in the last few years. So NASAA felt like it needed to go the extra mile to welcome newcomers and also to really work hard, which they've always done, but putting a bit of extra oomph into it to set them up for success. So per NASAA bylaws, a plan requires approval by a vote of the membership. So that's the motion the committee has for your consideration, to approve the 2024-2025 action plan. Now, for informational purposes, your packet also contains a summary of NASAA's FY 2024 operating budget. This budget was approved by the board in September, so that doesn't require a vote here, but we always share it in the spirit of transparency. So looking ahead, we anticipate an operating budget of around $3.6 million. We expect all 56 states and jurisdictions to pay their dues, which are assessed on a sliding scale by budget size. Like SAAs, NASAA applies to the NEA for a partnership grant every 3 years, and that's an important part of our budget. NASAA also manages several cooperative agreements for the NEA, and these are contracts to support research activities and professional development programs for arts education and folk and traditional arts. Now, in terms of private sector support, we have a substantial creative aging partnership with the E.A. Michelson Foundation. This initiative helps state arts agencies expand programs for older adults, as some of you will know, with a priority on reaching underserved populations. NASAA will also serve as fiscal agent for some work on cross-sector collaborations that the NEA is doing, and these will be done in collaboration with a number of private foundations. So all in all, NASAA is heading into 2024 in a pretty good position. As state arts agencies cope with a lot of flux and uncertainty, I think it's great to know that NASAA is in a solid place that we can all count on. So that concludes the Treasurer's report. So back over to you, Omari, to handle any questions and move us on.
Thanks so much, Karen. We certainly appreciate your leadership as treasurer, keeping us all like super smart and steady, and also supporting the great committee that you work with and responding to the different member needs, and taking in particular different state situations into account as you do your work. So again, thanks so much.
Omari, just quick thanks and shout out to the staff as well, who really do all the work here, to Sylvia and the whole team. We couldn't do it without them. So they make my job certainly a lot easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for that. Thanks for that note. So folks, Karen has put a motion before us that is to approve the action plan for fiscal year 24-25. Because this motion originates from the committee and has also already been endorsed by the board of directors, it already has a second. So we're going to do this by voice vote again. So everyone. Please unmute yourselves. Is there any further discussion of the motion to approve the action plan? All in favor of approving the action plan, say aye.
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 All opposed, abstentions. Great, the motion has carried. Action plan approved. Next, we'll move on to our nominating committee report. Everyone, please remember to remute yourselves. And we'll in particular be talking about board elections. Sandy Shaughnessy from the Florida Division of Arts and Culture, the floor is yours to present the slate.
Thank you so much, Omari. And it's good to see everyone. I'm sorry you can't see me. I accidentally deleted all the drivers to my camera. So IT got a frantic call, but sorry about that. It was truly a pleasure to chair NASAA's nominating committee this year. People are busier than ever, but as always, folks really appreciate this annual opportunity to talk and connect. We did our best as a committee to connect with every state arts agency, executive director, and chair. And the response was great. We had 81 conversations with 52 member agencies. We asked members how things are going, what NASAA services are most useful or important to them, what do they think states need in the year ahead, and how or if NASAA can help with state-level advocacy and DEI efforts. People were wonderfully candid in their answers. Folks shared their concerns about tough issues, especially the worries on the continuous politics. They're very contentious and polarizing, basically, and how that affects the arts. People also expressed a lot of satisfaction with NASAA, the trusted research, knowledge services, the guidance, networking, professional development opportunities, and I could go on and on. As Karin said earlier, everyone's feedback about NASAA was shared with the staff and with the Planning and Budget Committee, which informed this year's action plans. So your comments were put to good use right away. Thank you again for sharing your experiences, your thoughts, and your perspectives. We also asked everyone we interviewed for recommendations on who should be on the NASAA board and why. NASAA's governance committee asked us to focus on several criteria. Those are recapped in your materials, so I won't repeat them here. But the slate before you addresses what they asked us to look for, as well as suggestions from the field. A lot of people want to serve on NASAA's board, which means nominating decisions aren't easy. There just aren't enough seats for everyone who wants to serve. The great news is that there are many people interested in future board service who offer a wealth of experiences, ideas, and backgrounds. Ultimately, our goal as a committee was to nominate a group that includes many voices and viewpoints that are part of the fabric of this country and that will serve all state arts agencies well. Today, the membership is responsible for electing a new chair as well as new directors. On behalf of the nominating committee and with the endorsement of the NASAA board, I present the following slate for chair and directors. For a 2-year term as chair of the NASAA board, Donna Collins, Executive Director, Ohio Arts Council. For 3-year terms on the board of directors, Ruben Alvarez, Special Advisor, Arizona Commission on the Arts. Representative Lavon Bracy Davis, Council Member, Florida Division of Arts and Culture. Michael Donovan, Executive Director, Missouri Arts Council. Marcella Garcia, Council Member, Wisconsin Arts Board. Tacita Kelch, Executive Director, Virgin Islands Council on the Arts. David Schmidt, Executive Director, Iowa Arts Council. NASA's bylaws stipulate that the NASA board elects its own executive committee, and those results will be shared with the membership shortly. Before I turn things back over to Amari for a vote, I sincerely thank all the members of the NASA nominating committee. You all did a great job with this outreach, and you took a lot of care with the deliberations. I'm grateful for all of you. And thanks again to all the chairs, council members, and executive directors who participated in this year. It's truly a pleasure working with you all. And Omari, I turn it back to you for the vote. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sandy. And just a giant shout out to our pal Sandy Shaughnessy for stepping in at the last minute to lead this process. It really kind of exemplifies what it means to be a network that Sandy was so ready, willing, and able to continue to serve NASA after having been a member of the board for so long, as we called on her and needed her to lead this nominating process. It really meant a lot. And Sandy, you were the perfect person for the job. So thanks so much. And again, I would just say that the nominating committee work is just so strong and wide-reaching and amazing and thorough, all the things. And I really appreciate everyone who is involved in that personal outreach that Sandy mentioned. So the motion before our assembly is the committee's recommended slate for board chair and directors. Again, since the motion comes from a committee, it already has a second. So once again, folks, please unmute yourselves. Are there any other nominations from the floor? All righty. All in favor of the proposed slate, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Folks, please congratulate these exciting leaders and show them your support in the chat. We're really excited to have them in these roles. Donna, yay. So, you know, service on the NASA board is many things: rewarding, informative, and challenging. You know, just all of them. We bring our state's voices to the national table, and we also work on behalf of all state arts agencies for the whole field and the whole country. Thanks to all of you for your enthusiasm and leadership. We very much look forward to working with you in the years ahead. Folks, will now shift our attention to NASAA's outgoing board members whose service has concluded. Michael Faison from Idaho, Quinnice Floyd from Washington, D.C. My screen was commandeered. Abigail Gomez from Virginia, and Julie Vigeland from Oregon. These four leaders have served with vigor, distinction, integrity, and lots of commitment. Michael Faison's decades of experience in the field lent a steady diplomatic perspective to our work, in particular with Congressman Simpson. He retired this past summer after serving 16 years as executive director in Idaho, and we wish him great happiness and awesome motorcycle trips. Big fan. Quinnice Floyd, that is, has been a strong champion for equity and fundraising on our board, and her leadership sparked new thinking in those areas. And so we very much appreciate her contributions to NASAA's work and look forward to seeing her really continue to thrive and flourish in her other volunteer service work, and also with her own organization that I am now the Guild for, oh my gosh, we'll call it the Guild. And somebody will help me out and put it in the chat. But Quinnice is really wonderful and is doing great things. Abby's service on the NASAA's nominating committee, that's Abigail Gomez. Abby's service on the NASA nominating committee broadened the range of voices and views on our board. And we're delighted that she will continue to co-chair NASAA's People of Color Affinity Group. And Julie Vigeland, super sad that she could not be with us today as she is on a plane, has helped strengthen nearly every aspect of NASA with her civic sensibilities and longtime service on our executive, development, government, and nominating committees. I mean, Julie gets a super big gold star for her dedicated support. We are also saying farewell to 2 at-large board members, Maria Lopez de Leon, who served the arts community with great distinction and retired last year as CEO of the National Association of Latino Arts and Cultures, and Lisa Funderburg, a multi-talented arts and sciences leader who centers artists and DEI in her role as president and CEO of Artist Communities Alliance. These amazing colleagues and friends brought their best thinking and wisest counsel to NASAA, and our whole field is absolutely better for it. Please join me again in the chat to thank them for their service. And, you know, if you see them in the streets or the digital streets, whatever streets you hang out in, make sure to say thank you in person too. So traditionally at this moment in the business meeting, the chair does a year in review recap, but I'm not going to do that this time, since you can read all about NASAA's incredible year in the action plan highlights. Instead, as I'm getting ready to pass things over to Donna, I'd like to take this moment to say thanks for the opportunity to serve as your chair. When I first came onto the board, following the footsteps of John Bracey, the former executive director of at the time, Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, I mostly knew NASAA by reputation. I was a member of that state arts council and on the board of Arts Midwest, and I knew NASAA had best-in-class research and had earned the loyalty of the states. So when the invitation came to serve on NASAA's board, Gary was the chair at that time and was a great example for me. I was eager to empower that good work, and I was curious to learn more about what made NASAA tick. It's been a rewarding and one-of-a-kind experience. I've loved how folks from all different kinds of states come together with such strong mutual resolve to support the arts. On no other board could I have learned as much about Guam from a person like Monica Guzman and Puerto Rico as I did about Idaho and my home state of Florida. I've gotten to see up close and as a model, amazing governance that involves all voices and maintains the highest levels of integrity. And, you know, no other board that I've served on has had folks as well-versed in policy as they are in the arts. I mean, this group could conduct equally fluent conversations about continuing resolutions and neo-surrealism. Although maybe the two aren't so different, you know, come to think about it, but it was really wonderful seeing people wear so many different hats, artists, activists, and administrators, all working side by side on behalf of NASAA. You know, I stand in awe of the creativity and resourcefulness that I have witnessed around the board table and across our field. Working for state government may not always feel like the most glamorous job on the planet, but the work of state arts agencies truly matters. NASAA lifts up what state arts agencies achieve and celebrates our public purpose, the things that our field does that are special about government support for the arts. NASAA helps us do smart work that's adapted to our circumstances, keeps us connected with each other. I'm so jealous of y'all getting to go out to Santa Fe and just in jeans and t-shirts and live your best lives connecting. But I'm so proud that NASAA is able to provide spaces for folks in the network for things like that. As someone who runs an art service organization in my day job, I have to say it's been great to have a front row seat to see some of the more complex and delicate aspects of NASAA's work as a professional organization. For instance, how do you keep the arts from becoming like a political piñata? You know, it's by taking the long view and framing the issues in terms everyone can feel proud of. So measured, so disciplined NASAA has been. I've been amazed by how you maintain commitment to equity work when there's so much polarization around that language and those ideas. NASAA's been able to respect people's context and their individual states and welcome divergent approaches without judgment. There's room for everyone under the NASAA umbrella. And, you know, NASAA's been able to kind of make sure, again, that everybody is heard by actually listening, you know, by picking up the phone and talking to folks. In this era of instant messaging, picking up the phone and having that kind of connection with people may sound a little quaint, but that art of dialogue is not lost on NASA at all. And as a result, NASA's work is relevant and really dialed into what the state arts agencies' realities are. In these and in so many other respects, NASA is a great, tremendous, amazing organization. One that I really believe state arts agencies are fortunate to have. And we have seen folks, I'm sure in your own lives and in your own context, other associations have their own meltdowns, have their own troubles and tribulations. Yet NASA has been able to stay steady for you all. It's been a great ride for me as chair, and I'm really thankful for all of it. And I just have to, again, give a shout out to all the staff that have helped me be the best that I can be, namely Pam Breaux, in being a great role model, friend, ally, partner in this work. It's been a lot of fun. So without further ado, I will yield the floor to Donna, our next board chair. Donna, your experience with state arts agencies, state arts advocacy, local arts agencies, basically throughout the entire ecosystem of public funding for the arts, positions you extremely well to lead NASA to even greater heights, to be a great support to your peer executive directors and council members, and to just, help NASA continue to do great work. Be the model that you always are. Thanks so much, and the gavel is yours, Donna.
Thank you, Omari. I'm really humbled by this opportunity to serve, and I really appreciate the support of the collective work that we're all doing together. And I think, as my dad used to say, you don't need a title to be a leader. So for everyone who's on this call, who's not an ED or a chair, just remember, we're all in this together. Omari, following Pam's update, I'd like to make sure you're ready to get some big love and some thank yous from all of us for your leadership and your continued voice and presence as our now immediate past chair. But first, let's hear from our CEO, Pam Breaux. Pam.
Thank you, Donna. Thanks so much, Madam Chair. Hello, everyone. As always, it's so great to be with you, especially during these days of rapid change and rampant change. It's particularly gratifying and sustaining to be in community with each of you. In fact, the warm embrace of the State Arts Agency community was critical for me in 2001 when I led a state arts agency, and it's just as critical for me today. I hope each of you is sustained by the embrace of this community when we're all together, when we're in smaller groups, in our Zoom boxes, and even when we're just on the phone in pairs. That embrace will inspire you for transformative work ahead. And that embrace will also restore you and reassure you when you need it the most. As I connect to folks outside of our network, I'm often asked, how are things at NASA and how are state arts agencies? These always seem like enormous questions because there's no statement or elevator speech that can adequately capture how we are and how our agencies are. These are incredibly difficult days, and folks are rightfully exhausted, both inside and outside our network. Despite these challenging times and the rapid pace of change, state arts agencies are skillfully advancing critical work for the people of your states and jurisdictions. Your work is definitely a source of pride for us here at NASA. Your work is also hard, and that might feel like an understatement on some days. When state arts agencies face new or deeper challenges, so does NASA. When you must respond to a changing landscape, it's our job to help you respond. During the last few months, you've told us about considerable change. We heard you in peer groups and affinity groups. We heard you in committees, on the board, in focus groups, certainly during those nominations, interviews, and one-on-one, when you called individually. And the challenges are mighty. We heard that political polarization is definitely on your minds, and it's on ours too. More than 1/3 of states have told us that political polarization is the most urgent issue facing state arts agencies today. More than 1/3. And elections this year and next are likely to exacerbate that reality. This issue wasn't as rampant for members when we met 1 year ago in Kansas City, but it certainly is rampant now. And so it became important for NASAA to set aside what we knew of polarization in favor of getting proximate with the current experiences of our field. To better understand what members are facing, we spent upwards of 50 hours in one-on-one conversations with executive directors from each region. We also studied how other sectors like libraries and education are handling politically motivated challenges. And with that grounding, we could better convene conversations with executive leaders about how to prepare for and respond to these issues. We were better able to lead discussions about building strategic alliances for coping with these provocations. We were better able to explore what being proactive looks like when considering political polarization. We were also better able to think about how to reframe a political challenge in a way that's smart and in keeping with your agency's core values. I remain grateful to so many state arts agency leaders who helped us see these political controversies through their eyes. That helped us change how we're equipping the field to prepare and respond as these political challenges continue to unfold. Transitions and capacity are also top of mind for our members, and they're top of mind for us. Leadership transitions and workforce challenges are happening all around us. Most fields are experiencing this, and state arts agencies are no exception. We've seen about 30 executive transitions at member agencies since the beginning of 2020. We have also seen considerable staff burnout and transitions, shortages, and a host of other workforce challenges. The environment for public service is particularly difficult these days. So we at NASAA are responding differently to these state arts agency workforce challenges, and we'll need to continue calibrating and adjusting this work to ensure its relevance as your challenges evolve. Some of our changes include convening a customized biennial, specifically a biennial executive forum to better equip executive and deputy directors. As Omari mentioned, the first forum, Jeans and T-shirts, is set for December. We're also convening each peer group and affinity group regularly to encourage all-important connection and information sharing. And we're equipping each peer group with a budget to invest in their time as a cohort. We imagine the groups making investments in cohort building, in wellness, or whatever they need. And we're bringing back the new executive director boot camps. We'll convene boot camps biennially in odd-numbered years, and we'll also convene new directors in even-numbered years as a pre-conference to our assembly. This annual cycle of leadership development for new EDs is critical. And I think it'll be grounding for new leaders, especially considering the turnover rates. Advocacy is on members' minds differently than during the last couple of years. Necessarily during the pandemic, members advocated for and received additional resources to help arts organizations and artists respond to the economic and community challenges many faced with COVID-19. Your advocacy concerns are different today. Members are concerned about the end of state budget surpluses and the possible contraction of appropriations. As pandemic dollars end, how can we ensure that state arts agencies maintain meaningful appropriations to respond to state needs? Some, but not all, of the ways NASAA is responding to today's advocacy needs and those evolving advocacy needs includes elections follow-up at the federal level that includes cultivating deeper relationships with key elected and appointed officials, particularly those who will influence arts policy. We're also lifting up opportunities for cross-sector support that infuses the arts in other areas of government policy. Certainly, strengthening state-level arts advocacy practices is on our minds in multiple ways. One example of how we'll do that is with new mapping and tools that illustrate state arts agency grants by state legislative districts. And as many of you know, we're supporting the National Endowment for the Arts work to advance collaborations between the arts and other sectors, and keeping the needs of state arts agencies within those conversations. That federal work can be leveraged for partnership building at the state level, and that's why it's important for us to support. The challenges now faced by state arts agencies and NASAA are real, to be sure, and it often feels like we're adapting to a dizzying amount of change on the daily. But let's not forget what else is happening on the daily. I see you face forward with a commitment to improving the future. That is so important to remember. You are advancing programs and services to benefit all of the people of your states and jurisdictions. You're demonstrating your relevance and the relevance of the arts to daily life for all communities. Beyond responding to change, you're also making change, good change, that's positive and important for the people of your states and jurisdictions. It's such an honor to witness your work and its impact. And I know the NASAA team stands with me in boundless appreciation and pride for the work you do each day. Before I depart, please allow me to keep my gratitude flowing a moment longer. Earlier, I noted that this hasn't been an easy time to be in public service. It has not been the easiest of years at NASAA either. Yet, NASAA staff members continue to show up and accomplish considerable great service for the members of our assembly, and I am so grateful to them for their service to our field. I am also deeply grateful to Omari Rush for his 2 years of service as our chair. What a leader. Deepening board engagement has been high on his list of goals, and he has indeed deepened engagement and so much more. And NASAA is stronger because of his service. Donna Collins, thank you for saying yes to this new call to serve. I know you'll be a thoughtful and outstanding leader for our board, and I look forward to our next 2 years in partnership. To the NASAA board, your service helps sharpen our focus on state arts agency needs and opportunities, and I'm mighty grateful to keep those conversations alive with you. To our colleagues at the National Endowment for the Arts and partner organizations, our work together continues to benefit the arts field as well as state arts agencies. Your partnership is greatly appreciated. And finally, as much as I appreciate the efficiency of a virtual membership meeting, I'm already looking forward to feeling the heartbeat of our members when we convene for next year's assembly in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We'll feel the rhythms and heart of that incredibly special place while gathering as a community of state arts agencies in solidarity with our peers to advance work that matters. And let's never forget why our work matters. State arts agencies are pivotal to advancing the arts all across America, in towns, cities, and rural communities. Arts and creativity make us stronger as individuals, families, communities, states, and as a country. The work our members do each day helps our country thrive, and the arts and creativity strengthen the very fabric of America's communities. And we shouldn't understate that strengthening that fabric is especially crucial now. Thanks everyone for your role in this work. And now, Chair Donna Collins, I'm honored to hand you the virtual mic.
Thank you, Pam. We appreciate your update and your report. And it's always interesting to watch the emojis, you know, when someone's talking, we have lots of little hearts. And so NASA is a little bit about love, right? So thank you again, Pam. And in closing, I want to reflect on Omari's leadership from my perspective. And so while I'm doing that, I know some of you have been sending Omari messages in the chat. Keep doing that. So Omari, I want to share with you a few bullets. You are a consummate professional who leads from a place of curiosity and inclusion. You are focused on people and communities and what makes them interesting and vibrant. You are not a checkbox guy, and I love that about you and the way you think. You're not afraid to be direct, and in doing so, also being kind. Actually, Omari, you're best friend material. You listen, you value all the voices and the ideas. See, I'm buttering you up because you'll be the past chair and you'll be my mentor. And you know how to keep someone's trust, and I really value that. You speak your mind, and I rarely, maybe never, have heard you speak in negatives. And that is so fulfilling for the world we live in today. You're dependable, and you use sound judgment, and you do no harm. That's really important too. And as much as you love Michigan, you still find ways to connect with your neighbors to the south in Ohio. In fact, Omari's joining a few Buckeyes here in Ohio and Cleveland on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to that. Omari loves Allison in Michigan, and he never lets us forget that. And so, Omari, we're going to keep loving her with you because she's one of the 9, you know, in Arts Midwest. And I also want to thank you in advance for your support of NASAA in this role as immediate past chair. That means you won't let us fall down or you won't let us misstep. And if we do, you'll gently guide us back to a place that's meaningful and true. My friend, we applaud you for your service to the arts sector, not just at NASAA, but through your leadership and your love of the arts and people. Thank you, Omari, for everything. And as I said, you're not going away. Look at those applause, right? I hope you're feeling the love because we do love you, Omari. Oh, that's hard to get through, right? Is there any other business to come before the membership of the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies? Omari taught me this. You don't wait. You just keep moving if nobody speaks up immediately. Hearing none, let's entertain a motion to adjourn. Or we'll just stay the rest of the day.
Moved. George.
Thank you. Thank you, George. Is there a second?
Second, Isabel from Puerto Rico.
Thank you. All right. I don't think we need discussion. All those in favor of adjourning our meeting, our annual meeting, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. All right, we are officially adjourned and already looking forward to the next time we gather in support of the arts and in support of state and territorial jurisdictions, arts agencies across the nation. Thank you, everybody. It was a great meeting and we were close to our time. Not perfect like Omari or Benjamin Brown, who was always on time, but we'll work on it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.